Des professional investor, and I just want to welcome you guys today to our Note Investing for Newbies show. This is a show that I put on every Tuesday at 2:30 Pacific, and I'm excited today because today I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite stories to share about investing in mortgage notes and an experience that I've had personally as an investor in mortgage notes. Um, and I'll be sharing that with you guys today. It's called the deadbeat daughter. Okay. And you'll get a little bit better insight into that in just a couple of minutes. But at the end of the day, here's the bottom line is I want you to understand why you should have mortgage notes in your portfolio, right? And mortgage notes should definitely be on your radar if it's your plan to build financial independence. Because I don't know of a better way for the average person to build financial independence than to do it by being the bank, quote, quote, bank, being the bank for some homeowners all across the country as a mortgage note investor. And it's a lot easier than you might think it is, by the way, just in case you think it's tough. It's not like it's super easy, but it's certainly not difficult. And anyone that puts their mind to it and has a little bit of guidance can accomplish it. It can accomplish some pretty amazing things as a note investor. So again, I want to thank you guys for showing up here today. And as I said, I'm Desi Arnaz, professional investor, and I've been investing in mortgage notes since 2013. And I don't plan to ever stop. It absolutely makes no reason to, I can't find a single reason to ever stop investing in mortgage notes. It's only been better and better. As a matter of fact, I like to say it this way. You know how most things in life, when you start doing them, you get all excited about it. But then the more you do it, the more you realize, it's not all that, right? And all of a sudden, as they say, the luster wears off. Well, in the note business, I found it to be just the opposite. The more I invest in notes, the deeper I get into the business, the more I realize, wow, this is really something. And that's what I'm going to just suggest to you guys is to dig into this. If you like this whole idea of being the bank and investing in mortgage notes, then dig into this, take it seriously, because the deeper you get into it, the more you're going to start to see creative ways to make money, to increase your yields and your ROIs, and to help people save their homes and all of the things. It's just good all the way around as you get into it. So that's exciting for me. And I hope it's going to be exciting for you too. All right. So let's see here. Let's see who we have on here today. what I was able to get done by putting this deal together, by structuring this deal the right way. Okay, so. Massive passive income. Okay. All right. I'm thinking that my camera has frozen on me. If you guys can still hear me, can chat if you can hear me, because I can't see myself on the camera anymore. And I hope that it's still working. Looks like the audio is working, but I don't see the live feed. Can one of you guys hit me up in the chat and let me know if you can still hear me, and I will move on here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. I do appreciate that if you get on and let me know. I don't know why my camera stopped on me. That's kind of weird. All right. I will. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear my voice at this point? Okay, it says audio in and out. I hope it's in right now, Gary. I'm hoping that the audio is in. Thank you very much. I'll move the microphone a little bit closer to me. So, all right. Thank you. Gary says, yes, it's in. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. All right. So here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to share with you guys the story of the deadbeat daughter. You're going to find it kind of interesting, but I just want you to know that you definitely want to consider notes and adding them into your portfolio. So here's how the story goes. This place is in a town called Dahlonega, Georgia. If you've ever been through Georgia, you may be familiar with Dahlonega. It's about an hour or so north and a little bit east of Atlanta. And up here in Dahlonega, Georgia, a gentleman had retired from working all of his whole life, and this was his retirement home. He was living in it. And apparently, for some reason, he decided to move out of it. I don't know why, but he decided to move out of it, and he was going to sell the property. Well, his daughter came to him and said, well, Daddy, Daddy, if you're going to sell the property, why don't you sell it to me? Or why don't you give it to me? Initially is what she wanted him to give it to her. And he said, I can't give it to you because he has 5 kids. He said, it wouldn't be fair to give you this property. And I've got 5 kids. And so he said, well, here's what I'll do. I'll sell it to you, but I'll sell it to you for half what it's worth. So that's a pretty good deal, right? The market value of this property was $130,000, according to the real estate agent at that time. And Daddy said, I'll sell it to you for $66,000. That's what he sold it to her for. And so that's a pretty good deal for her, right? I mean, he's certainly a much nicer dad than I would have been in that scenario. Okay, but that's what he did for her. I think that was pretty decent. He also said, I'll sell it to you with no money down. That's also pretty good. Kind of hard to do that if your daddy's not the lender, right? So Daddy said, I will sell it to you with no money down, and I'll sell it to you on a 30-year promissory note, 6% interest, and you can pay me $396 a month. And Dad said, I can use that to supplement my Social Security income and my pension. And so Dad was looking at that as being a way to have extra income during the his retirement years for the next 30 years. And so that was the deal that they struck. And she did all right with that deal for a while. As a matter of fact, for 2 years, she paid on time like she was supposed to. Dad had her sign a promissory note and a mortgage document, just the same as she would have had to do if she had taken a loan with a commercial bank like Wells Fargo or something, right? So she signed the proper documents. Dad did it right. He didn't just give her the house. He said, you can buy it. And he gave her a good deal on it. So I'm happy the way that he did. But here's what happened. 4 years later, I get a call from Dad, and here's why. As it turns out, his daughter had paid for about 2 years on time. She paid every month. And then 2 years earlier, before he talked to me, she started not paying. I guess the better way to say that is she stopped paying. Yeah, Dad wasn't too thrilled with that, right? Now, first of all, let me just ask you a question in the chat. Don't you think he had given her a pretty good deal already? That was pretty sweet what he gave her, right? Put that into the chat. If you think she had a sweet deal, just put sweet into the chat. I think she got a sweet deal. Half price. Dad finances her, no money down, has a house on 2 acres. I mean, that's a sweet deal if you ask me. And so, yeah, hit me up in the chat, but just put sweet in the chat. But anyway, she paid for a couple of years on time, then she stopped paying. Dad didn't know what to do, right? He's like, he started asking her to pay, and she'd say, yeah, I'm going to pay, but then she didn't pay. And it was becoming a thing. You know what I mean? You know how it is, right? If you have kids or anybody, really. Sharon says, yeah, that was sweet, sweet deal. Boy, I wish he would have taken care of me, right? Or my dad would have taken care of me like that. My dad didn't leave me anything or help me out in any way. But this dad did well. Thank you, Sharon. It is sweet. Gary says it's very sweet. Gary, the truck driver, very sweet. It is. Good deal. So Dad didn't know what to do. He called a lawyer. He said, you know, she's not paying me and I don't know what to do. And the lawyer said, well, you know, you can foreclose. You have a mortgage lien against the property because the daughter signed a lien, a mortgage lien. So you can foreclose and take the house. And Dad said, well, I don't want to kick my daughter out in the street and my grandkids. You know, he says, this is just a horrible situation. And the attorney said, well, here's what you can do. I think if you scare her, maybe she'll start paying again. So what you can do is file the foreclosure, but you don't have to go through with it, right? But you just file the foreclosure. And when she gets those legal papers, I bet you she'll just straighten right up. And so Dad said, okay, well, let's just do that. So he paid the attorney to file the foreclosure papers. And she got served with the foreclosure papers to indicate that the lender, her daddy, right, was going to foreclose on her. And she didn't like it very much. She didn't take it very well, as a matter of fact. And that's where the trouble really began, right? Here he is. He still owed $64,500 plus $8,800 in payment. She's not paying, but she took it even further. She refused to speak to him after that. Not only that, she also refused to speak to her mother, and she refused to let them see their own grandchildren. Is that a deadbeat? Would you call that a deadbeat? Put that into deadbeat. Stick that into the chat if you think she's a deadbeat. I think she's a deadbeat. Dad took care of her, gave her a really sweet deal. And then instead of her appreciating it and doing her best, the payment's only less than $400 a month, right? And she had an income of $68,000 a year. She could pay. She could pay. She just didn't want to pay. And as it turns out, when I talked to her dad, he said that she really feels she should have received the house for free. She just, forget about her brothers and sisters. She just felt Daddy should have given her the house. And he just wasn't feeling it. And so the attorney told him, look, there are companies out there that will buy your position. It'll buy you out. That's when he reached out to me. He found us on the internet, reached out to me and said, hey, I have a mortgage note. My daughter is the borrower. She owes me $64,500. She hasn't paid in 2 years. And she owes me another $8,800 in back payments and stuff. And so I said, I'll buy the note. We negotiated back and forth. He wanted, I think, $55,000 or something like that initially. I offered like $40,000 because she hadn't paid in 2 years, right? And we settled on $47,500. So here's what just happened. Dad and I agreed that I would buy this mortgage note from him for $47,500. But that doesn't mean that's all she owes. When I buy the mortgage note, she owes me $64,500 plus $8,800. Okay? Nothing changes for her. She has no idea what I paid for this note to her dad, right? It's none of her business. That's between me and Daddy. And so I bought the note. And by the way, I just want to mention this to you guys too. At the time that this came to my desk, I wasn't liquid. I wasn't sitting on $47,500 in my bank. And so I actually used OPM, other people's money to buy the note. And that's what I teach people at the Note Investor University. I teach people how to use other people's money to buy notes like this. But let me show you what I did with this note, okay? So as I said, the daughter owes me $64,500 plus $8,800 in arrearages. I told Dad, look, Dad, you need to understand something. And I want to be really clear about this with you. And he said, what's that, Desi? I said, she's not my daughter. You know what that means, right? And he said, I get it. You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. Right? She's not my daughter. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. In other words, his daughter and her kids could be out on the street if she doesn't pay me because I'm not her daddy. Okay, so once all that was on the table, I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and close the deal. I wired the money to him, and here's what happened. Whenever you buy a mortgage note, you got three possible outcomes. One is the people will pay you like they're supposed to. They just make the payments. That's what we want. Right? That's why we buy the note, so we can get paid every month. But another option is maybe they'll sell the house and pay you off early, or refinance the property and pay you off early, right? So that can happen too. Or maybe, like the daughter, maybe they just won't pay. Those are the only three things that will happen. One of those three things will happen every single time. Okay, so we in the note space are prepared for that, and that's what I'm going to show you guys. And I want you to really understand it and get this, because this is what makes note investing so powerful. And this is why I say you really need to have some notes in your portfolio, at least a few. Okay, but let me just show you. Before I do, I just want to remind you guys that our program today is brought to you by the Note Investor University. We teach you how to invest in mortgage notes and how to do it using other people's money. So it's not about how much money you have. It's about how much knowledge you have. And it's about how much integrity you have. And we show you how. I can't teach you to have integrity. Hopefully you have that. But I can teach you how to be in the note space and how to be a person that is considered an expert in the note space. And if you couple that with your own personal integrity, you're going to find that you're able to raise millions of dollars for investing in mortgage notes, or investing in office buildings or apartment buildings or rental houses or whatever you want. You just have to have that skill. I like investing in notes, but I'm also going to build a couple houses this year using other people's money. Actually, a couple of duplexes. I'm looking at building 2 duplexes in Florida, about an hour outside of Orlando. And so, but again, as I said, I'll be using other people's money to do that. And you guys can do the very same thing. Okay. But you just have to get smart first. You got to get the knowledge first. We teach you that. So like this on Facebook, please. Like it and share it if you don't mind. I would really appreciate it. And at the end of the day, so will the people that you share it with. They'll appreciate it as well. All right. Okay. So if you're on my YouTube channel, please subscribe. So let me show you this, guys. If, in fact, the borrower, the daughter in this case, pays me like she's supposed to, then I will earn $396. I'll collect $396 a month for the 312 months that were left, 26 years she had left to pay on the mortgage. And that means that I would have collected a total of $123,800 on a $47,000 investment. That works out to be 11.2% per year return on my money. 11.2. Now that's a good return. I'm not even going to ask you if it's a good return because I know it's a good return. I know what banks are paying, right? They're paying less than 1%. So what I earn in 1 year with this investment, if she pays like she's supposed to, what I will earn in 1 year, it would take 11 years or more to earn the same amount of interest in a bank. So my $47,000, or the person that loaned me the money, the $47,000, their money is far better off working with me on this. And what I did with this is I'm earning 11.2%, and I paid them less than that, and I earned the spread. Since that time, I've bought them out, so I own this note outright right now. But here's what I did with this. Here's my other option. Maybe this person will pay me off early. You never know what a person is going to do when you buy their mortgage. Maybe they're going to pay you off early. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to pay you every month. Maybe they're not. We don't know. But I just want you to understand the three options, three possibilities. So let's just say that they pay me off early. Let's say she paid me for 5 years, and then she decides, I'm selling the house. I want a bigger place, and I'm moving to a bigger house. So she would pay me for 5 years. Over the 5-year period, I will collect $23,800. And since most of the money that I collect is interest, because in the early years of a mortgage, most of the mortgage payment is interest, right? You guys know that. So she would still owe $56,700 plus $8,800 in arrearages, right? So she'd owe me $89,000. And so after 5 years, that would be an average of 20.3% per year return on my $47,500. Now, if 11 is good, 20 is fantastic, right? I mean, I'm just saying. That's the beauty of note investing. But I know what you're thinking, like I was thinking when I first looked at notes. What happens if they don't pay? Well, here's a scenario. If she didn't pay, then here's what would happen. Let's just say we never know when she's going to stop paying. So let's just say she pays for 5 years and then stops. Same 5 years. But instead of selling the house, she just stops paying. So I would have collected $23,800 in payments before she stopped paying. Then I would foreclose and take the house, which I can do because there's a mortgage recorded against the property. So I would foreclose and take the property. Now, remember, the house was worth $130,000. And let's just say it didn't go up, it didn't go down, because who knows 5 years in the future? Who knows? But let's say it's the same price. I would pay my realtor, pay my lawyer, maybe walk away with $115,000. So I would walk away with $115,000 from the sale of the house, because after I foreclose on it, I can sell the house. I can live in the house. I can do whatever I want to do with it. It's my house, but I'm going to sell it. So I'll sell it for $130,000, pay my realtor, pay my lawyer, walk away with $115,000 in my pocket. I've already collected $23,800 before she stopped paying. So all total, I would have made $138,000 in 5.5, let's call it 5.5 or 6 years. That works out to be roughly 28% per year. You guys see that? You see that? I mean, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? When you buy a mortgage note, the worst case scenario is that they pay you like they're supposed to. Anything else, you make more money. This is why banks are in the money business, guys. This is why banks are in the money business and not in the real estate business. Because if you can earn 20%, 28%, I've earned some really high yields. I won't even tell you what they are, but certainly they're much higher than 28%. I'll tell you that. I've earned some really high yields on some of the notes that I've purchased. Okay. Really high yields. Unbelievable stuff in most people's mind, but it's not unbelievable. Banks do it every day. It's just the average person doesn't because they don't know. Okay. So here's what actually happened, though. When I bought the note, I reached out to her and I said, darling, there's a new sheriff in town and I ain't your daddy. Okay. You're going to need to pay me or I will evict you. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? It's a miracle. It's a miracle. She started paying. Well, I wasn't the least bit surprised because that's the way it works. I knew she had a good job, making decent money. I knew she was just really trying to just take advantage of her own family member. But I wasn't going to let her take advantage of me. And so here's what I did. I put her on a payment plan to repay the $8,800 in addition to her regular payment of $396. So she was paying a total of $706 per month until the $8,800 is paid back. So see what just happened? I bought this note for $47,500, and now I'm collecting $700 a month. And then after it's all paid back, it'll go to $400 a month, $396.83 a month, which is still very good, right? That's 11%. We know that. So I'm earning almost 18% until I'm paid back. That's a good deal. Very good deal for me. And I probably have done 100 of these, almost 100 of these. I know I haven't hit 100 yet, but I know I'm approaching 100 of these that I've done over the past 4 years, guys. And most of them using other people's money. And that's what I teach people how to do, okay? How to do this stuff, okay? But now you see why banks don't flip houses, and banks don't buy rentals or invest in stocks or mutual funds or Bitcoin. Banks don't invest. They don't. Investing is risky. Banks put themselves in a position where they don't lose in 99.9% of the instances, right? They don't lose. They demand collateral because collateral is something that they can take from you if you don't honor your obligations. And so banks position themselves with something that they can take. And that something is usually more valuable than what you owe them. Okay? That's what banks do. And that's what I'm telling you guys. You can do this very same thing. So here's my admonition to you. If you have real estate and you just love being a landlord, that's fine. Add some notes into your portfolio. But I think, like myself and like several of our other students, once you get into the note space, you give yourself 6 months or a year in the note space, you're going to be looking at your rental properties and saying, why am I doing this? What am I thinking? I need to be in the money business because the money is in the money business. That's why banks are in the money business, right? The money's in the money business, and you can get into the money business. Note investors are in the money business. Here's some of the things I like about investing in mortgage notes, and this is why I suggest you should have some. You get to control your cash flow. Okay? You can originate a new note, meaning you don't have to buy a note that someone else originated. You can originate a new note, and you can say, I want to be paid every 30 days or every 60 days or every 90 days because you're the bank, you're the lender. And you can originate a new note on a piece of property. And you can say what day you want your payments to come in. You can also say how much the late charge will be if the payments are late. You have all that flexibility. You control your cash flow. You have minimum risk when you are investing in real estate notes because you have the real estate to take, right? And the real estate is worth more than what you lend or what you pay for the note, a lot more in most cases. So your risk of losing money is very, very low, very low. I can't say it's zero, but it's you got to work at it, right? If you want to lose money with notes, you got to try. It's something that you got to say, okay, I'm going to lose some money today. And I know nobody would do that, but that's what it takes, in my opinion, right? And then you get to control your return on your investment. Because you know when you buy a note what it's going to pay you. Like that note that I showed you, I knew I was going to make 11% no matter what happened. My money was going to make 11% or better. And so I get to control that as opposed to being in Bitcoin or the stock market or whatever and saying, I have no idea what I'm going to make this year. I hope I do well. Of course, I could lose, but I hope I do well. You know, that's to me is more like gambling than investing. And so I don't know why people put so much money into the stock market. I think it's because they don't know what else to do. And that's why I do this meeting every week. That's why I have this show so that I can share with people there's another option. And it's not a bad one. It's a good one. And you should seriously consider it. So I just want you guys to understand, yes, you can profit from real estate without owning it. Because when you're the lender, you get cash flow from the rental properties just like the landlord gets cash flow. As a matter of fact, the landlord is your collection agent. The landlord collects the the rent, takes the biggest chunk of the rent and sends it to you and keeps the little bit that's left. That's what the landlord does, right? And you can be that lender, and we can teach you how to do that. And we guide you literally every step of the way. You don't have to walk this alone. As a matter of fact, it'd be foolish for you to do that. It'd be foolish for you to try to figure this stuff out on your own. Why go through that? I've made our program at the Note Investor University so affordable. It's less than a cup of Starbucks coffee a day, right? It's less than $5 a day to be a part of our program and get all this training and learn how to use other people's money. And literally, if you do what I teach you to do in 4 years, you're going to be a millionaire. And I'm not just saying that. It is a fact. If you do what I teach you to do in 4 years, you're going to be a millionaire. You'll never have to worry about money again. You're going to have cash flow coming in from a bunch of notes that you own. And that cash flow is going to come in for the rest of your life. And when you die, that cash flow is going to go to your kids, your heirs, or whoever you're leaving your money to. That's how this stuff works. Okay. And what I'm talking about here is not how to make a lot of money. I'm talking about how to become really wealthy. How to become really wealthy. See, a lot of people make a lot of money, but they're not wealthy. And I was one of them. I made a lot of money as a real estate broker, as a landlord, as a property flipper. I made a lot of money, but I never felt wealthy because I really wasn't wealthy. I had to keep hustling all the time, right? After I sell a house as a realtor, I have to go sell another house. That's how it works. I didn't have that passive income coming in. It didn't require me to go out and do anything very much, just kind of monitor and check things out. I had some rental properties, but when those tenants didn't pay me, I still had to pay the bank. So again, I had to hustle. And at the end of the day, my returns as a landlord were not any better than I get now as a lender, except I have no headaches like that. I don't have to deal with tenants and toilets and trash and vacancies and broken water pipes and plugged up sinks, roof tiles blowing off. I had so much stuff going wrong with some of the properties. Everything happens, right? Somebody breaks out a window and now I got to go fix it. Somebody accidentally walks through a screen door and now I got to go have it repaired. That stuff just happens all the time when you're a landlord. And that's just little stuff, right? There's also big stuff that happens. Your furnace goes out, your roof goes out. That stuff happens and it costs a lot of money and it eats up and destroys your return. Here, we don't have to deal with any of that stuff. Okay? We don't have to deal with any of that stuff. I see here we have a question. So I can't say your first name, but I'm just going to say Vung. Says, where do I start in regards to buying my first note outside of other personal websites? Well, we sell notes, right? And I have a bunch of notes and we sell our notes. What I do is I have a fund. It is the Everly May Real Estate Fund. And I'm raising $20 million and we're buying notes and we hold those notes. We make sure that they're nice. We get them performing well. We get them cleaned up because sometimes the paperwork is kind of messy when we buy notes from these banks and hedge funds. So we clean everything up and then we sell them to people like yourself. If you want a nice note to put into your portfolio, you should just talk to me. And I'll be happy to kind of show you what we have for sale. Okay. And if you see something you like, just raise your hand and I'll help you get it. Right. If you want that. Okay. So here's what I want you guys to know, right? You can learn this stuff. You can learn this stuff. It's not outside of your ability to learn. It's not the kind of thing that you got to be a rocket scientist to understand. It's really not. And then what I want you to do, once you understand this and you get it and you understand how money works, because it's not that complex. It's just not taught to us. So it's not your fault if you don't know how this stuff works. Your teachers and your universities and colleges and high schools and grade schools, they didn't know how this stuff works. That's why they teach. I'm not picking on them, but how many wealthy teachers did you have? Okay. Probably none, right? They don't know this. If they knew it, they'd be wealthy. And so they can't teach you what they don't know. I used to think that the wealthy teach The wealthy people, the legacy that the wealthy families leave for their families was money. I used to think that was the legacy that they would leave, is money. But the truth is, I am wealthy, and I can tell you I have wealthy friends, and it's not money that is our greatest legacy. It's financial intelligence. That's our greatest legacy that we leave for the next generation. Now, of course, you're going to leave money too, but if you don't teach them how money works, you leave money to your kids, it'll never make it to your grandkids. They're going to spend it all, right? And so you've got to teach it and teach them to teach it. That's how this stuff works. But first, you got to learn it, right? First, you got to learn it. Okay. So Ving is asking, where do we buy notes? I have a network of real estate investors and real estate note brokers, banks, small banks, community style banks, and hedge funds that I buy notes from all across the country. They know that I have money. They know that I buy notes, and they send me lists and say, hey, would you want to buy any of these notes? And I review them. I conduct due diligence on them, and then I buy them if I like them. If I don't like them, I say, nope, send me something else. I don't like these. Right? That's how I do it. And then, but I buy in bulk. That's one difference. I buy in bulk now. When I first got started in notes back in 2013, I was buying from hedge funds, and they required that you buy at least 3. Most hedge funds required that you buy at least 3 at a time. And I remember my very first trade was 5, and it was $93,000 to buy 5 notes. And I didn't have the full 93,000. I had some of it, and so I brought in another guy, and together we bought 5 notes. Actually, we bought 3 notes and 2 houses because I was afraid to buy 5 notes. I didn't know notes that well, and I said, look, do you have any real estate that you foreclosed upon? I'll buy the houses. So I bought 3 notes and 2 houses. And as it turns out, I actually lost money on one of the houses, but I made plenty of money on the notes. And that's when I realized, okay, I don't really need houses anymore. Let somebody else buy the houses. And now I just buy notes. And I won't be buying any more houses. Even though I do own a house right now, I got one back today. We foreclosed on a place in, I think it's Florida. I'm not 100% sure, but I just got a call from my asset manager to say, guess what? You got a house. So I got this little house back, and I told her, find me a real estate agent. I don't want a house. Find me a real estate agent, and I'm going to sell it right away. Okay. But the foreclosure auction was today. I got the house back. Now, I got this house back so cheap because I hardly had any money in the deal. And the house is worth probably 3 times what I invested. So I'm going to make a bunch of money on this deal, right? And that's why I say worst case scenario is they pay me like they're supposed to. Best case scenario is they don't pay me and I foreclose and take the house. That's the best case. And I don't try to take people's houses. I tried working with these people for 6 months, offering them an opportunity to get back on track. Start making your payments. I can modify the loan. You can sell it on a short sale, do whatever. But they didn't want to do anything. They just wanted to live for free. Okay. They just want to live for free. And hey, I'm not their daddy either. So you're not going to live on me for free. Sorry. Doesn't work that way. And so, yeah, this is good stuff, guys. You guys should learn this. So in my program, here's the question that just came up. John asked the question, what does your program teach us? And do you teach me how to sell to hedge funds, companies, and government? Well, you don't really sell to hedge funds. You buy your notes from hedge funds. What I teach you how to do is how to buy mortgage notes and add them into your portfolio, how to conduct due diligence on them so that you don't buy a bad note, how to manage those mortgage notes because you own the notes, right? And so how do you deal with that day to day, month to month, year to year? How does that look? And what does it take to do that? And by the way, it doesn't take much, but I teach you what you need to know. And I teach you how to repeat that process again and again so that you build a portfolio of notes. And before long, you literally have thousands and thousands of dollars coming in every single month from homeowners all around the country. And I teach you how to do all of that using your own money and other people's money. And the reason that I teach other people's money is because eventually, even if you came to me and said, I have $1 million and I want to buy some notes, eventually you're going to buy notes and your $1 million is all going to be deployed. And then you're going to still see more notes that you want to buy. And you're going to say, man, I have $1 million worth of notes, but I want to buy these too that just came in, but I'm out of money. So you have to learn how to use other people's money. That is the secret. If there is one, that is the secret to becoming wealthy, not just rich, but wealthy, so that you always have a source of income coming into your life. And that's where you're going to find your peace. That's where you're going to find your freedom. That's when you get to the point you can say to your boss, I'm cutting back my hours, or I'm out of here, right? Whatever, because you don't need to work. You just work because you want to work. If you really enjoy what you do, volunteer, because you won't need the money. I can guarantee you that. If you get into the note space and you pay attention for the next 3 to 4 years, money is going to be in the rearview mirror. You won't have to think about money anymore. I know that's a bold statement, but you just won't have to think about money anymore. Broke people think about money all the time, Just like a guy who's riding around on an empty gas tank thinks about gas for his vehicle all the time until he gets to the gas station and fills it up. But once he fills up his car, he doesn't think about gas anymore because the car is full. Same thing happens in your bank account. You fill up your bank account with money and you don't think about money anymore. You think about other things. Okay? Yeah, it's a bold statement. Crown Christ said, yeah, that's a bold statement. It's a bold statement, but it's a reality, guys. I just want you to understand that it's a reality, and it's a reality that you can have. So there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I will be here again next Tuesday, dropping some nuggets here at the Note Investor University. Here at Note Investing for Newbies show. But head over to the Note Investor University. Go to noteinvestoruniversity.com. Note Investor University. Let me put it up on the screen. Go to noteinvestoruniversity.com. And there you can learn all about our program. It's very inexpensive. The most affordable program on the market and the best value overall, because I teach you the same thing that the guys who charge $20,000 teach you, $30,000. I teach you the same stuff. It's the same stuff I learned, right? And I learned from a guy who charges $25,000. Same stuff. It's just that I know I can help more people if I make it affordable, right? It has helped me so much. And some other people that I know, some of my friends, it's helped them so much that I feel compelled to make it affordable. As I said, it costs less than $5 a day to be in our training program. If it's not worth $5 to you, then don't sign up. You signing up isn't going to change my life. Okay? Understand that. $5 a day isn't going to change my life at all. And that's no joke. Okay? So you signing up I'm not saying this for me. You need to do this for you and for your kids and for your family, so that you can be the difference maker in your family. Then who knows, maybe you'll be able to do what I just did this year. I set up a family trust, right? That's another thing that the wealthy do. They pass their wealth through trust, the financial wealth through family trust. I set up a family trust. And I set up a family bank where any member from my family can borrow money from our family bank. They don't have to qualify for the mortgage. They're part of it. So I set that up. And so have some of our students, because I shared with everybody what I'm doing. And I share with you guys this is what I'm doing. Okay. And if you like it, do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. This is what I'm doing. And I can tell you, guys, my family is very appreciative. And I feel very, very good about the fact that I know I've positioned my family to never be a struggling family again, generationally, right? I position my family to move not just to where I'm wealthy, but where my family will be wealthy as the generations pass. They'll be wealthier and wealthier each new generation because of the way we structured our trust. And you guys can learn to do all that same stuff. And we teach you all that stuff. If you want to learn it, if you don't want to learn it, that's fine. But if you want to learn it, we teach you that stuff, right? We got to help each other, guys. That's how this world works. We got to help each other. We got to look out for each other. And if you learn something, that's where I learned about the trust from one of our students who had already done it, right? So if you learn something, you share with me, I share it with others. That's how this world works. We can't do this stuff alone. And so join our group. Head on over to noteinvestoruniversity.com, sign up with us, and let's get started. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys. Oh, Crown Christ says, how much to get started? It's $149 to get started. $149. Not $25,000 like, I won't name the people out there that are charging that. One guy out there charges $50,000. I know a woman that teaches this stuff. She charges $6,000, $149. And I know I can charge more than that. I've had people say to me, I wasn't even going to sign up for your program because it was so cheap. I've been looking at everybody else, and everybody else wants all this money. Yours was so cheap, I figured it wasn't worth anything. And I don't know how to combat that except to say it's worth as much or more than theirs. It's just our objectives are different. My objective is to help people get out of poverty. I grew up in a very poor family, very poor. And I just don't think people need to be there. Not once you understand notes. You don't need to be there. So I hope to see you guys signing up on my website, right? I can see when you sign up. I hope you do. I hope you do. And then every Saturday, you get to join us on our mastermind calls. You also get all of our training classes, which I have online. They're all right there. Just start learning. And then you get an hour every single month, one-on-one. Hold your hand, hold my hand, coach me call, right? Hold my hand and coach me call. Let's call it that. We should rename it. I'll hold your hand and coach you. Right? You get to pick the brain of someone who's been there, done that. So you don't have to step on landmines and make mistakes. Okay? All right, guys. Well, again, thank you all very much for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys on next Tuesday. Unless you join, then I'll see you Saturday on our mastermind call. God bless you.